key message of the report is that amid current trade tensions, AI offers a bright spot for trade. With the right enabling policies, AI can boost trade and economic growth for all. And the report that we just published, the World Trade Report 2025, predicts that AI could boost cross-border flows of goods and services by nearly 40% by 2040. So 40 by 40, which is a pretty big impact. But for this potential for trade and AI to foster inclusive growth to be realized, we really need to act deliberately. So we need to close the digital divide, we need to invest in workers, we need to maintain an open and predictable trading environment.
Mm-hmm. So the impressive numbers certainly are striking, 40% by 2040. If we could talk specifically about some examples into how artificial intelligence can actually increase trade opportunities and reduce the cost of trade, especially for poorer countries. Why is it seemingly also a very different picture for different countries at either end of the income spectrum?
Sure. Well, let me give you maybe some very concrete examples that we have in the report. We have a case study on how a big shipping company, Maersk, is using AI to improve logistics and reduce significantly trade costs when it comes to logistics. We also have some case studies that show how small businesses can use AI to tap into new markets. For example, a small company from El Salvador, which is a tech-based website development company, is using it across a broad number of business functions, and the new insights that this company gained on consumer behaviors, on new markets, allowed this company to tailor its offering to new markets overseas and to tap into European markets, in particular to the Netherlands. So these are very, very concrete examples on what AI can deliver for trade and how it can really boost international trade.
Mm-hmm. And you've highlighted in your report the growing restrictions on AI-related goods, with tariffs reaching up to 45% in some economies. The report calling for the need to maintain open and predictable trade policies, but surely the trend is going in exactly the opposite direction of that.
Yeah, so the number that we mentioned, this 45% that you mentioned, is related to bound tariffs, meaning the maximum tariff that members can impose, a specific member can impose based on the commitments that they've taken. So it's not about applied tariffs. But we do note in the report, indeed, that bound tariffs for certain AI-enabling goods can be as high as 45% in some low-income economies. Now, back to your question, we do note in the report that there is an increase in the number of non-tariff measures imposed on AI-enabling goods, quantitative restrictions, for example, on these goods. So we're talking, when we mention AI-enabling goods, we're talking about raw materials, semiconductors, intermediate inputs. And what we note is that quantitative restrictions on these goods has increased significantly over time, from 130 in 2012 to nearly 500 in 2024. So we do see a trend. 43% of these quantitative restrictions also target exports. So these developments, of course, are concerning, and we are keeping a close eye on these developments, which could limit the development and the deployment of AI and the benefits of AI for all. Recent research has shown that if the world were to split into two geopolitical blocks, global GDP could fall by nearly 7% compared to a scenario of multilateral cooperation. So this really underscores the importance of international cooperation. And WTO members are well aware of what is at stake. The WTO agreements still present a very solid foundation for trust and predictability, and importantly, a forum where members can come and discuss AI-related policies and concerns. And in fact, around 80 specific trade concerns related to AI have been raised in WTO bodies. So international cooperation is really critical if we want to maintain an open and predictable environment, and if we want to ensure that AI truly benefits all.
And just to expand on that, what else concretely can be done by the WTO to support your members in bridging this digital divide?
Sure. Well, first, WTO rules already provide a solid foundation for the development and deployment of AI. You have the International and Technology Agreement, for example, that reduces customs duties on critical products for the AI supply chain. We have the General Agreement on Trade and Services that facilitates AI-enabled services, rules on intellectual property that foster innovation and the diffusion of technology, or rules on technical barriers to trade that promote regulatory coherence. The WTO also provides a forum for discussion. But of course, greater engagement could broaden participation in AI trade and make AI more accessible, more affordable. So lower bound tariffs, for example, greater participation in the Information and Technology Agreement that I just mentioned, updated GATS commitments are also important. And the WTO is also doing a lot in terms of trying to help close the digital divide. We're not the only organization active in that space, but we do have initiatives like the Digital Trade for Africa project, for example, with the World Bank to support digital development in a number of African countries. And we are now expanding it to Latin America and the Caribbean. Or we also have a fund jointly with the International Trade Center to help women exporters build their digital skills so that they can tap into global markets and trade more and better. So we're trying to do as much as we can to ensure that we can support the inclusive development and deployment of AI.